Hello and welcome to today's episode. I listened to yesterday's recording and I don't think the audio quality and the headset I used yesterday, I don't think was really up to spec. So I've gone back to the old way of recording. Unfortunately, the cold is still here, but I think we have less to worry about in terms of audio quality today. So, on with the topic for today. Now, it's easy to fall into the habit of waking up, thinking about stuff, getting to the grind, and then waking up the next day and then doing the whole thing over and over again. Now, while there's nothing wrong with this cadence, figuring stuff out, doing it, and rinse and repeat every day, Groundhog Day. Now, while there's nothing wrong with this cadence, a lot of us fail to see how talking to the customer routinely is good not just for breaking things up, but also for the kind of intel, the kind of data, the kind of suggestions that we're going to get to drive our grinding, our hustling, and our thinking. So that whole thing, that whole Groundhog Day thing of waking up, coming up with the plan, executing, it gets rather boring. And so talking to the customer serves two purposes. And I hope I've been able to convince you guys so far that purpose number one is something different. It breaks up the gray of the day because our customers can and clients that we're working with can give some color and light to our whole day. But then talking to them is also going to give us suggestions about what we can do to move the business forward. In fact, I have been the what will I say, the recipient of such advice because we were talking to a potential client. Okay, well, she's not a potential client anymore because the deal didn't fall through. This was for the photo booth services that we provide through my partner Shegun, who handles most of the video. And so we're supposed to have provided the photo booth. She had a conversation with Shegun initially at the office. I came in at the tail end. I made a summary of that, and then later on, when she wanted to renegotiate, I didn't cross check which package it was that we were talking to, or rather that they were talking about. And because of that break in communication, it just turned out to be not a nice customer interaction where basically she was talking to Shego and getting one thing, talking to me and receiving another. And then to make this shitstorm even worse, her wedding planner tried to see if they could get another discount and reach in to someone else within our whole setup because yeah, there's me and there's Shagun, but then of course there are other associates that we work with. So someone reached out to Yinka, who's the third guy, and then tried to negotiate something else. And even though Shagun and Yinka and the others were upset by this kind of underhanded behavior, trying to go through three different routes to get a discount at the end of the day, I I just thought, that's using my own sales perspective and my sales training anyway, that we have to take responsibility for where things go wrong. And so the fault ultimately was ours, where we were not singing from the same script, we were not singing from the same price sheet. And that's where the breakdown in the process and the breakdown in communications happened. And so I called her up anyway afterwards to apologize because it was my recommendation to her that with the way things had turned out, we were not going to be able to. It wasn't going to be a good working relationship, even if we went ahead, because of the level of lack of trust that all the partners, all the participants now had. Her not feeling confident about our communications process, the wedding planner the same, and then people on our own end feeling like they were trying to be, what's that word? Is it shysted? Like they were trying to shyst us and get all kinds of discounts by talking and negotiating three ways. So anyway, I advised her that I didn't think it was good for us to go ahead, even if we could agree on the numbers, because of the lack of trust. She accepted the advice, and I called up just to be sure that emotions, nerves were not freed, and that we're all still, we're all still cool. Because the fact that we don't do business together, that we don't do business together now doesn't mean that we can be what's the word, associates in the future or allies in the future around some other business or something else, politics, who knows. So of course I also tried to do the professional thing as a sales professional to make sure that their needs were sorted. So I had looked for alternative fun ideas that they could do for her wedding, and I called up to discuss that with her. And luckily, at the time, they had already been sorted, and so that was well. And that's when she gave this advice to me regarding how we ought to streamline our communications. Process. Now, of course, it's not fun when you're being schooled on the client on the potential client on what the deficiencies in your business uh, deficiencies in your business basically. So it's not being fun. It's not fun when you're being schooled on stuff like that. But we should have the humility to listen and to learn, because that is how our businesses grow. And so that's the chief benefit that we get from talking to our customers from time to time. Number one, it breaks the dreariness of waking up and doing the same thing all over again. And then number two, we also do get some intel about how we can improve our business. And you can see in this case that taking the time out to call a customer, especially in this case, even though we now know for sure we're not doing business with them, you can see how it was a good thing to do. So because of that, we should be talking to our customers. Sorry, excuse me, cold is still there. So we should be talking to our customers and clients, potential clients as well, all the time or as often as possible, because this is going to improve our sales processes. Just like in this case, we now know that there are a couple of things that we need to tweak regarding how we communicate with the outside world and how we communicate amongst ourselves. Since we are selling this product and these services as a team. So talking to potential customers, our clients, it'll help us improve the sales processes. Of course, if our sales processes are improved, our sales results are going to be improved as well, and we're also going to improve our marketing communications. So, also another thing is when we start talking to our customers all the time, we get a sense of what it is that they like, what was effective, what we did poorly, what could have been done better, things like that. And when we have all this information, like I've said in the past on the podcast, we now know what it is that we need to do with our products, with our services, with our features. We need now know what to do, what to cut out, what to avoid, things like that. So if you're a wedding planner or you're a decor person and you think that chocolate fountains are uber sophisticated and every high class wedding should have one, but then at the end of the day your brides are consistently saying that people didn't use the chocolate fountain, or they found it cumbersome to use, or it created too much of a mess, and blah 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 blah. So if you speak to 20 brides and then 18 people give you that feedback, you now know that even though chocolate fountains are your thing and they seem uber sophisticated, you know that perhaps is something that you need to cut out. Oh yes, I know that whole thing about the chocolate fountain is a dated idea, because people don't do that anymore. Because I think like 10 years ago, it's something that you would see routinely at weddings. So I'm not saying that that is what wedding planners do now, or that's what they should do. I was just using an example from the past to show how the feedback that we get from our clients can refine what it is that we offer. So it doesn't matter which way you look at it, talking to our clients is good business practice. So pick up the phone, call your customers today. And of course, when I say customer, I mean someone who has bought from you before. Call up your clients. The client is someone who not only has bought from you in the past, but does so repeatedly. And then, of course, when we say clients, typically we're thinking much more service-oriented and higher amounts and things like that. So pick up the phone, call up your customers, call up your potential clients, even those people who failed to buy from you or who are not going to buy anything from you today, because you're going to be better off for the process and better off for the effort, and there's a lot that you can learn. So thank you very much for listening to today's episode. I'll catch you guys at the next recording.